Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media. Today we're looking at tweets of January 9th, but we are going to give you a little wrap-up of the Oval Office speech that Trump gave last night on January 8th. Thomas, give us your appraisal of that.
Well, it's exactly as we predicted, Betsy. We said that he would not do all these things that the crazy people out there project, arrest 127,000 people who have sealed indictments, or treasonous actions, military tribunals start after his speech, or that Trump is not going to announce he's not running next term, or that Pence is not running. These are all insane speculations. Remember, he's a stable genius. He did not say one wrong word in his address. And even the press, the Democratic press, says that Schumer and Pelosi shouldn't have spoken because it just sunk their boat. So what was really happening? We told you what was really happening. The border barrier and border security is the opening salvos of the 2020 election, and they are losing horribly. We have the attention of 800,000 Democrats who are bureaucratic, non-essential workers who are furloughed. Well, guess what? They don't do anything anyway, and at least half of them need to go. And so they are not waking up. Some of them are quitting their little Democratic jobs because they know that it's nothing more than nonsense. So much of what the Democrats fund is nothing more than virtue signaling to try to bring in the lowest common denominators of the voters out there. And the very lowest is the non-citizen who is an illegal alien who has a Social Security card in a sanctuary state like California and is voting. That's the disgusting part. They interviewed Rachel Mad Cow. Now remember, mad cow disease happened because the farmers fed the brains of cows to cows. It was cannibalism. Well, Rachel Mad Cow is nothing but a cannibal. She's nothing but a vampire. She has no news. She only has criticism. And she brings an idiot like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on.
Well, this is a form of propaganda, and people are waking up to it.
And so the opinions of the left, which is now, let's remember, as of last night, that was the first of many extinction events. The Democratic Party, the Demon Rat Party, is gone. It is dead. It is being led by a vampire, Pelosi. She's been dead for years. Nobody's told her. She doesn't even know who the president is. And her speech last night, she didn't write a single word of it, and she didn't understand a single word of it. That's the beauty of it. She just reads what she's told to do by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Remember, that's who runs Congress. If you do not fall in line with the Democrats and only vote Democratic straight ticket when you're a politician, you don't get money from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Same for the Republicans. So what happened last night? That was a campaign victory. Trump only said what he needed to say. He didn't threaten anybody. He has the power. When you have the power, you don't need to display it. You have the power. And you don't need to tell people you have the power. You just act. And what he said last night was, it doesn't matter. He's giving the Democrats a chance to be human and for what's not aligned themselves with the criminal element that creates the criminal attack and invasion of America on the southern border in sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, which we'll get to in a minute. But really, what was that last night? That was a clear statement of the Demon Rats' Socialist Fascist Party planks. No money for the border, no money for Trump. Anything Trump says we're against. We're simply an opposition party. We don't have any platform. We're not going to address any facts. We're not going to address the crime. We're not going to address the crisis. We're going to play like it doesn't exist because that's the way we've been doing for a long time with the uniparty system. And so we're not going to change that. So it's now the anti-American party. That's what Democrats are.
You know what I liked about it was the call to action. Everybody listening to this, you need to call your representative. It's easy to do. Just, get on your search engine and find out who that is. Call them, send them an email, and tell them what you think about the border security. And Trump asked you to do that. That was his call to action. Now, you have to remember, too, on January 10th, we have all these union folks that are employees that have been, they're not getting their paycheck right now, 800,000 of them. Well, there's going to be protests in Washington. But what we want to try to get these folks to know, because they're low education, I don't want to say low IQ, but they're not awake to what's really going on. They just want their paycheck. Well, that's very easy for us to show them. If you want your paycheck, you need to call up Pelosi's office and tell her to give our Trump a big fat check.
Period. When you call, don't ask for the Democrat Party. Ask for the Chaos Marxist Party. Ask for the Communist Party. Because Hillary is a communist. No one could be a better Russian, Chinese communist than Hillary. Nobody. So it's really the Communist Party. And we might as well just call it what it is. It's the globalist hegemony party. And they're not going to stop, folks, until the un-Americanism that is being proffered by the left, by the Democrats, and by the non-MAGA right, by the rhinos, the Republicans in name only. Those non-MAGA Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats. They're part of the Uniparty. Now, I want to point something out.
Well, the Uniparty is the party of the globalists, and you can be a Democrat or a Republican. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but we still have people stuck in this binary conflict of Democrat versus Republican. It's really not that at all. It's about the globalist takeover of America. And if we look at Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, we'll see that one of the points in there is you have to outlast your opponent, and that's what we intend to do. We intend to outlast them, and this speech was just one more obstruction, if you will say, of the globalist encroachment on America.
Absolutely, and it was a chance, Betsy, clearly to state what side you are on. You are either on the secure side of that barrier and you're an American citizen, or you are a non-American, anti-American, as I said before, chaos, Marxist, communist, globalist, whatever you want to call those people. They call them, when they're politicians, lawmakers. They are not. They are lawbreakers. And if they will not support the president doing his job, which is to secure America, then they're lawbreakers. And this showed whose side everyone is on. And when you attack Trump, what they don't understand is, this is beautiful. He wants to be attacked right now because their attacks are hollow, baseless, and hypocritical, and they are actually accusing him of what they do. But what is the principal thing that they're forgetting? 83, and sometimes it's even higher percent, last I saw, 83% of Republicans support Trump. Okay? That means when you criticize Trump, you criticize 83% of the majority of America. You couldn't be doing anything more stupid than slapping the face of the people who might have been on the fence, literally, but now are clearly on the inside of that barrier with Trump. Because why? You're crazy. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that they would even interview you after the insane things you've said that show that you don't have a fifth grade understanding of civics in America, that you are not an American, that you are clearly a fascist, that you are clearly a communist, and that you are the other side of the wall. You're the other side of the barrier. You're over there with Mexico, our enemy, attacking us. And so all these un-American politicians, these lawbreakers, not lawmakers, we need to see them for what they are and make sure that next time, even though we know that the elections are rigged, it doesn't matter. Trump won during a rigged election, during the most rigged election of history. He won. Of course he's going to win again. And when he wins again, they're going to take the House back, and they're going to keep the Senate, and they'll probably get their 60 votes in the Senate. And when that happens, nothing will be able to stop the MAGA train.
Okay, let's get on with the tweets. Our country is doing so well in so many ways. Great job numbers with a record-setting December. We are rebuilding our military. Vets finally have choice and accountability. Economy and GDP are strong. Tax and reg cuts historic. Trade deals great. But we must fix our southern border.
Now, I'm going to add some things in between the lines on this one because this is a setup for the next one. And what he's saying here is we must fix our southern border. the southern border. We must fix the eastern border of California, a sanctuary state. We must fix every border of any state that wants to go rogue and allow invasion of America, illegal alien invasion of America, which includes, in the caravan, there was Hezbollah, Hamas, ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda. You can't name a group that is an enemy of America that did not have people in that caravan. That was an invading army, and now there's another 10,000 invading army gathering. And what's happening? Mexico is securing its southern border because it's now realized that we're not going to let those invaders in, and they're going to end up in Mexico. And Mexico, remember, is just a complete hodgepodge of cartels. So when you talk about the southern border, you're talking about a country that is insane. Their drug cartels run their country. Remember, the drug cartels openly supported the new president of Mexico. The new president of Mexico said, as one of his planks in his campaign, that it was a human right, and particularly a Mexican human right, to cross the American border illegally, work here illegally, and bring the money back to Mexico, and that was a right that he was going to stand up for and never, ever let stop. So, on the day that Trump closed the border, $7 billion was lost. Nobody wants to talk about why. Those are all the illegal people crossing the border every single day as a routine in a car, being passed over the border to work in America illegally and take the money back to Mexico. Mexico is our enemy, not only for drugs, human trafficking, not only for the invasions, because they don't follow the laws. They don't follow international law. They don't follow the agreements with us. They didn't follow NAFTA. They don't follow any immigration agreements with us. None. Zero. So they are enemy number one. And unfortunately, that has bled into California so much that it has basically taken over California. But here's the deal. Trump is winning on all areas. You cannot name an area Trump is not winning in, except one. He cannot win with the southern border being porous to criminality and basically losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Every time somebody says it costs $100 billion for illegal aliens, no. $100 billion is what we spend in medical costs per year on illegal aliens in this country who do not have medical insurance. The rest of the states of America support California's sanctuary state indebtedness because of their astounding stupidity that they give free medical to aliens.
Well, did you know that they're going to do this in New York City? Free medical care for anybody who can't afford it?
I was going to mention that, Betsy. You're always reading my mind. True, New York City is opening up for Sharia law, Sharia creep, and Sharia getting into all aspects. And we already knew it was one of the most illegal places for voting in America. And we know that the mayors of New York have proudly stated so. We also know that they have worked collectively as individuals and collectively with the Attorney General of New York to attack Trump nonstop from the beginning and yet support illegal aliens. Matter of fact, when they were caught with all their illegal election things in the last two elections, they came out and said, yeah, we do that, so what? They don't care. In the large cities, they basically manipulate illegal aliens, 22 million that we know of absolutely for sure, 100% by the FBI's own count, 22 million illegal aliens, and most of them cluster in sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. And that's what I'm complaining about. I'm saying the southern border cannot be stopped, even with a barrier, until we arrest governors of sanctuary states, arrest mayors of sanctuary cities, put them behind bars because they are breaking the law. So what we really have here, we might as well call California anarchy. They are total anarchists. They are not Americans. They are not American citizens.
Wait a minute. Look, you can't say that about all Californians because we've got a lot of great patriots out there, and they need to be paying attention to these rigged elections that keep flipping reds to blues.
and they're not, and they're in a state of invasion. It's anarchy in California. And we'll go into that in the next tweet. But really, what we're talking about is, I'll call him Devin Nuisance. Jerry Brown was a fascist. Devin is a fascist to the fascist power. He already has come out and stated...
What? Devin Nunes?
No, Devin Nuisance. Newsom, the new
you
governor
have to
of California, is
here.
a fascist to the fascist degree. No one could be more of a fascist than the person who says he's not going to have a wall. He's not going to stop aliens. He just stated he's going to give basically free services to all illegal aliens who can get into California. It's already costing us $100 billion a year for medical services for illegal aliens who, well, I can go into why, but it's astounding. Then there's another $150 billion that we spend on dealing with the, right now, 785,000 catch and release asylum seekers. We spend billions, tens of billions of dollars on just those courts alone and the lawyers to represent the people who never show up for court again. That doesn't count what we do in terms of dealing with the basically the drugs on the border, the crime on the border, the illnesses coming across the border. That costs us another $150 billion. That's what I'm talking about for security. We're talking about illegal aliens on the southern border in sanctuary states and sanctuary cities costing us hundreds of billions of dollars a year. But they won't give $5 billion to stop the number one problem, having no barrier. And when you have no barrier, it is an invitation. And when you have a fascist governor of California, that is not America. When we build the border on the southern border of America, we need to build a barrier on the eastern edge of California. And they want to secede? Oh no, let's push them out of the Union. Because they cost us so much money because of their insane, fascist, democratic, far-left, liberal-leaning, chaos, Marxist, non-American, anti-American anarchy, that if we cut them off, America wouldn't even have to charge taxes for the rest of the states.
No income taxes, right?
No income taxes simply by cutting California off.
Well, what they're doing is they're becoming a gathering place for the opposition troops because they're allowed to pour into California. Then they're kept there because of all these great benefits. And then once they get their numbers up, it's going to be very easy to cross that California border and just storm the rest of the United States. So we need to pay attention, folks. If you think wars are fought the way you imagine them, when you see pictures, old movies of World War I and II, you're sadly mistaken. War has been moved to a new plane. It's on a psychological battlefield right now. It's a war literally of your mind. We've shown you that it's just one propaganda false flag after another to lead good people into what we don't want, which is never-ending war. And so by using the border as this issue, it is really stating that you either love your Americans and you want to protect them or not. It's one way or the other. It's simple, up and down, good or evil. Now, we'll move to the next and last tweet of our session today. Billions of dollars are sent to the state of California for forest fires that with proper forest management would never happen. Unless they get their act together, which is unlikely, I have ordered FEMA to send no more money. It is a disgraceful situation in lives and money. And I emphasize the tense there because he's not thinking about it. He's not threatening it. He has ordered it.
They called him an idiot when he said that if you clear the brush from underneath the forest, it will in fact stop the fires. Everyone laughed at him until the EPA and the Forest Management Service and the Department of Natural Resources all came in and said, no, he's absolutely right. Now, let's remember, California spends more money on FEMA, and FEMA spends more money in California and disaster money to California than all other states combined. Yearly. Even when there's hurricanes, the unusual hurricanes, they do not compare to the money that goes yearly out to California for wildfires, floods, mudslides, drought, the misuse, which is really the misuse of water, sanctuary state and sanctuary cities, as we've already stated, hundreds of billions of dollars goes to California for them allowing California to basically be complete anarchy. And remember, they break the laws on purpose. Those people need to go to jail, and those are politicians. They're supposed to be lawmakers, law enforcers. No, they're law breakers. They need to go to jail. Yearly costs in California, supposed disasters. No, those are not disasters. The floods need, as you saw with the last giant flood and the dam breaking, it showed that there had been no management. They had refused to spend the money to make the waterway there secure, and so then the flooding that happened there wasted the water that could have been used for agriculture. But then they do that all the time. For stupid ecological reasons, California is run by basically anybody who is there as a scallywag, as a carpetbagger, to take advantage of it. Look at what Pelosi and her family does in California. Look at what Dianne Feinstein and her husband do in California. They're some of the biggest. Look what Maxine does. They're the biggest ripoff artists in Congress. And they use California as their playground to burn stuff up. And when I say burn stuff up, I mean, yes, on purpose. Some say directed energy weapons. It doesn't really matter. Just look, they're on purpose. Most of the fires are created by Pacific Gas and Electric not maintaining their wires. It always is a lie, folks, when they tell you it was a cigarette butt, it was a campfire, it was whatever. No. It almost always comes back to PG&E not doing their job, and, of course, the forest not being cleaned properly. It's because they do not cut back the forest around the wires. We've already talked with people who were part of these wildfires out in California, and they said this is a huge problem. PG&E is going to go down. They're going to go bankrupt. Why? That's what they were supposed to do. The destruction of these areas, these are targeted areas. And if you look at why they burn up, there's very good reasons. Because of developers, the people who own that land, the people who want to own that land. There's already plans have been laid out for California, not only seceding from the Union and there being a northern and a southern California. Because why? Total anarchy leads to chaos Marxism. Chaos Marxism leads to predatory economics. George Soros is having a heyday in California, just like all of the billionaires. That is the reason that Silicon Valley is there. That is the reason Hollywood is there. That is the reason that most of the underground activities, the worst activities, human trafficking, all of the activities happening in the southern border happen all throughout the state of California. We need to just simply say goodbye to California. Let it, well, act like an earthquake took it. But let's make sure we build the wall on the eastern border first, because right now, California is nothing but anarchy. It is run, the elections are fake. We shouldn't take any election statistics, no election results from California, simply because we know of the millions of illegal aliens who vote in California. We need to cut California off, and any other sanctuary city, we need to arrest the mayor. And any other sanctuary state or any state that wants to go rogue like that, we need to arrest the governor, see if we can't just arrest the politicians involved. As Betsy says, there's good people out there. But look, folks, a few years ago, the water crisis in Southern California was going to cause the migration of between 4.5 and 5 million people coming east. That was the chaos that was being prepared for with Jade Helm 2015. That is why the FEMA camps are out in the Southwest. It will happen again, and we have the worst chemical engineering of our environment above California, trying to create rain. And what happens? Drought and flood. And then what happens? Disasters. And then what happens? The rest of the Americans, not in California, the rest of the states, besides California, give our taxes to California to deal with what they created. These are problems they created. I say, goodbye, California, and make sure we put a border, a barrier on its eastern edge of California to make sure that we can stop basically the zombie takeover of California that's already happened. Those are non-citizens being lauded, being praised, being given free services when the citizens paying taxes right next to them do not have free medical services. Because of Obama, they have the highest copays they've ever had in their medical insurance life. But next to them is an illegal alien who gets every type of benefit you can imagine, including free computers when they go to college, including free food, free clothes, free place to live. It doesn't matter. If you're an illegal alien, you get across that border and you get on the list of the asylum seekers who are waiting for their court date. You get every service there is, folks. We are in a disgusting takeover, an invasion of America by anarchists parading themselves as Democrats and rhinos when in fact they are fascists.